Hello everybody, Gatling Golduck back again, and welcome to the 100 subscriber special. I know that we're past 100 subscribers now, and I'm really sorry for the delay on this upload. Being completely transparent with you guys, I honestly was having a really hard time trying to think of what I should do for this 100 subscriber special. So it's been a bit, difficult because honestly, I wasn't sure what would be right for me to make for this kind of celebration as a video to celebrate. But then I figured, you know what? Why don't I go and revisit the episode that started me down this journey of critically looking at Steven Universe to begin with my brand new perspective and brand new format, considering back when I made that video, I really just talked about the singular concept rather than the episode itself. So I figured, what better way to celebrate 100 subscribers than the video that started me down this path to begin with? You know what I mean? So I'm going to be going over the Season 5 finale, Change Your Mind, with my whole new format and whole new perspective. So, again, I'm really sorry for this video taking so long. Just been trying to figure out what it is that I should do to celebrate 100 subscribers. Other things going on behind the scenes. Trying to make new plans for new content because starting this week, I'm going to be starting a new stream series with my good friend Akitsuki Plays. He's a very good friend of mine. He's a great guy. Makes a lot of hilarious content. I tried giving him a shout out before, but unfortunately that was in my one rant that got taken down, because I have seen a few people ask me to make a review of Fragments and Mr. Universe. I did, but unfortunately, for some reason, it got copyright claimed. I don't know why, but that's the explanation behind why you don't see that video on my channel. It will be back up in like 2 months now, I think, but that's the reason that it's not there. So, giving another shout out to my great friend Akitsuki Plays. I'm going to be putting a link to his channel in the description, because starting this week, hopefully all things go, God hoping that all things go according to plan, he and I, and potentially his girlfriend, and who knows who else might join, will end up streaming Sonic Forces pretty soon. For those of you who don't know me, I am a diehard Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and I have been meaning to make videos talking about Sonic Forces. So I figured, you know what? The game was free for PS Plus subscribers. Let's do a live stream of this sumbitch. So that's the plan for this upcoming week. And also in the weeks to come, since Steven Universe is over, I intend on making new, sort of smaller videos covering individual characters rather than entire episodes. I would still be happy to make videos on old episodes. I'm just not sure which ones I should talk about. But that's my plan for the future as of right now, and I will be making videos talking about individual characters from Steven Universe, as well as other franchises, and I really want to hear from you guys, because I have an idea for the first video that I want to make talking about a specific character from Steven Universe. I plan on my first one being specifically focusing on Spinel as a character, but I would love to hear from you guys as well. I'll also be taking suggestions for characters from other franchises as it goes on, but obviously I kind of want to start with Steven Universe to start off on some familiar territory and get that out of the way before I jump into, say, something like Red versus Blue. But that's my plan, for those of you who are wondering. So don't worry, I've got other plans. It's just like for this 100 subscribers special, I hit writer's block for content creators, and I'm really sorry about that. But anyway, with the disclaimers out of the way, thank you guys so much for once again being so patient with me, and hopefully this will be worth the wait. And let's get into it with Steven Universe Season 5 finale, Change Your Mind, Revisited. Man, I haven't watched this episode since it released on television, and good lord, this is a trip. Just like in the first couple of minutes, we've just got Steven wigging out as he has another flashback of his mother's memories. That's a thing that occurs, I suppose. I don't know, there's like the idea of Steven having flashbacks of his mother's memories kind of makes sense in a way, because okay, just like the idea of him having a flashback of It's weird, honestly, because him having flashbacks of his mother's memories or dreams of his mother's memories would kind of make sense, considering that he technically is his mother, but this season finale goes out of its way to say, no, he's not his mother. Pink's been gone for a long time. She's gone. Steven is Steven. So I'm not entirely sure why he would be experiencing dreams of his mother's, or even for that matter, because, like, I don't even understand why he would be experiencing them at such random intervals, because as far as I'm aware, it's only happened twice. Like I'm pretty sure it only happened, like, on the moon, or on that one alien planet where Stevani got stranded. That happened that one time. And now it's happening here again. I'm pretty sure it's only happened these 2 times. And I guess I have to ask, why did it only happen these 2 times? Like, why? Because here's the thing about the pink diamond plot twist. The entire concept of the pink diamond reveal being rose quartz being pink diamond reveal, it doesn't work. That entire premise in and of itself does not work. Because, like, I've seen some people try to say, like, this show does a great job with plot twists. Like, JXC made a video talking about the season 5 finale, and in it, he mentioned that the season 5 finale, he mentioned, like, Steven Universe is really good at plot twists, and he mentioned that Rose Quartz becoming Pink Diamond was one of those plot twists. It's not a good plot twist. It really isn't, because it breaks so many things in this story, and I'm just gonna run through the list real quick, because the amount of damage dealt to this story by this one plot twist alone is insane, frankly. So, to start it all off, the very idea that somebody like Pink would even bother wanting to save life on Earth, like, why would she even care? Like, Pink is a horrible, heartless person. Why would she even want to save life on Earth if she's so heartless that she abandoned Spinel for 6,000 years? She basically lost volleyball and didn't mention her to anybody, didn't go back for either of them. She completely abandoned the human zoo because Garnet says, specifically, like, they couldn't find the human zoo, which is bullshit, because the human zoo was made for Pink Diamond, so how could she not find it if it was made for her? She'd have to know where it is. So she willingly let the human zoo just remain out in space, and she also willingly let those humans stay in captivity for thousands of years, and willingly let those poor rose quartzes stay in captivity for thousands of years. And segueing off of that point, the question of whether or not standard rose quartzes can heal or not, that question is never answered, so we have absolutely no idea if those rose quartz soldiers can heal, and no matter what the answer is, it's going to poke holes in this story, because if rose quartz soldiers can't heal, then that means that it should be painfully obvious that Rose Quartz, aka Pink Diamond, isn't who she says she is. So and if the answer is yes, they can heal, I'd have to ask, why is it that a standard ground soldier has healing powers equivalent to that of a diamond? Because what is it? Eyeball? Yeah, Eyeball. Eyeball says to Steven specifically that Homeworld had heard of Rose Quartz's healing powers. That's how she kept her army going. So, if Homeworld was aware of this, and the answer is no, standard Rose Quartzes can't heal, it should have been painfully obvious that Rose Quartz isn't who she says she is. And it should have been painfully obvious to the Diamonds, considering apparently they're the only species of their kind, they're the only gem cut of their kind that has healing powers. So how did they not figure it out? And another thing is that, because you all know how I've gone over this and how it completely ruins Pearl's character arc, but, like, just ignoring the programming thing, just like the basis of her entire character arc was that she was madly in love with Rose Quartz, aka Pink Diamond. That wasn't natural love. That was programming. Volleyball is an exhibit of this. She displays the same infatuation that Pearl had for Rose. It was in the one episode that volleyball actually has a speaking role in. So, Pearl's entire basis for her character arc is built out of a place of programming. It's not real. It's not real love. So that's one of the many issues that plagues Pearl's entire character development, because y'all already know how I feel about her being a programmed slave, so I won't go overly into detail with that. That's just a detail that I missed before that I feel like I should explain. But then, going further into the Pink Diamond plot twist, this doesn't necessarily have to do with the plot twist itself, but it's very messed up in hindsight when you think about it. Because, let's put this into perspective real quick, because from Bismuth's perspective, she created the breaking point in order to kill the diamonds, correct? At least I think that's what she built it for. It was either that or to kill the Empire, but basically, from Bismuth's perspective, Rose Quartz was an enormous hypocrite. Because Bismuth created the breaking point to shatter gems. What does Rose Quartz supposedly do in her story? She shatters Pink Diamond, and there's no way that Bismuth wouldn't know about that. So it wouldn't matter whether it happened before or after, whether the breaking point was created before or after Pink Diamond's fake shattering, Bismuth would know about it, and from her perspective, Rose was a giant hypocrite, and she was bubbled away by an enormous hypocrite. That's what the story is like from Bismuth's perspective. And honestly, we could have done something with that, but we can't have episodes where Steven isn't present, and we've had Bismuth in 7 episodes, so we can't do that either. So, it's just like, the whole thing is just... The entire plot twist is built on a broken foundation, just like the very idea that the catalyst for the entire plot, basically Rose Quartz rebelling, turns out to be built on a foundation that is completely and utterly broken. Because now we're left with the contextualization that Pink is a terrible person because she is. She lied to the rebels for thousands of years. Who knows how many of them died believing her lies. She used Pearl for thousands of years. She didn't go back for the human zoo, the Rose Quartzes, Spinel, Volleyball, any of them. She is a horribly selfish person and front-loaded all of these problems onto her son. Pink Diamond is an evil person. So why would she even care about life on Earth? Why would she even care? It doesn't make sense. This entire plot twist is built on a foundation that this evil person, for absolutely no reason, suddenly cares about organic life. Why? We don't know. And if we were to be given a reason, it would still be contradicted by the fact that she doesn't, for some reason, start a rebellion as herself. Because the way that Pearl puts it is that Pink decided to take up the mantle of Rose to start so that the diamonds couldn't ignore her. As if to say that Pink Diamond herself starting a rebellion wouldn't be as impactful, which is bullshit. You seriously mean to tell me that one of their own diamonds starting a rebellion and the diamonds being aware of this wouldn't be more impactful than some rogue defective trooper? Because if this is the case, because I seriously doubt that this was would be the first instance of a soldier going rogue. I'm okay with the idea of this being the first time that there's an all-out rebellion. I'm okay with that. But I seriously find it hard to believe that the diamonds would take seriously some broken Rose Quartz that came out wrong. Just like, why would they take that more seriously than one of their own? It doesn't make any sense. And all of this came in season 5, because this plot twist, all of it came in season 5. And it's such a rushed job because we barely know anything about Pink Diamond or Rose Quartz, and the information we do have contradicts with one another, making this character an entire mess. And then it just makes it clear to me the writers did not think ahead when it came to this plot twist. They did not have a plan. They just put this together without considering any of the repercussions that it would have on their overall plot. And this is how I view the writers of Steven Universe in general. They did not make a plan. They had no idea what they were doing, and they just made it up as they went along. Why? I don't know. But that's what I'm going off of here because of what I've seen and what I've heard. Because what I've seen is no foresight. They did not plan ahead, considering how twice they have had endings to the series, technically, with Season 5 being the ending to the mainline story, even though it was continued later on. That's just how some people tend to view it. I'm going based off of, like, this is the end of Steven Universe original, I guess. I don't know. That ending to Season 5 was a complete and utter rushed mess, and the same can be said for Future. So the writers just don't make a plan. They just make it up as they go along, and they clearly haven't learned anything from it. And this is just like, it's just a mess, frankly, and honestly, I'm disappointed that the writers haven't taken any of the criticism to heart. And even if Steven Universe was to come back someday, which I seriously doubt it will, and the writers did actually learn from their mistakes, then they would have to spend 3 seasons worth of running damage control to this already broken plot. Because at this point, if you're going to do anything with Steven Universe again, it has to be a reboot. Because anything continuing on from here is built on a foundation that is full of holes. That's just the way that I view it. There are some writers out there who could possibly take this broken story and make it work. I'm sure that there are. Personally, if I was to do anything with Steven Universe, I'd have to start from scratch. Because this story is beyond repair at this point. At least from my perspective. Good lord, I forgot how this I'm sorry, it's the dialogue. Blue, you gotta let us out of here or we'll starve. Not until you apologize for being stupid and creating a scene. No. Alright then, I guess you'll die. Alright, Steven, just insert the I guess I'll die meme here. What? Oh my goodness, I forgot how stupid the dialogue was. We're gonna starve to death in here unless we apologize. So we're gonna starve to death unless we apologize for fusing, which was an incredibly stupid decision for us to make in the first place. Way to go, Connie. I don't know why you were so stupid in that instance, thinking that would be a good idea, especially in front of these evil tyrants who destroy anything that's considered wrong in their vision of their empire. And fusion is damn near the top of that list in terms of things they find disgusting. I don't know why you thought that was a good idea. And now you're just here like, yeah, I guess we'll just die. Seriously? Okay, just like... Oh my god, I forgot how stupid... I forgot how stupid this was. You know, looking back on this Season 5 finale, it just makes me think about how horrendously underdeveloped the Diamonds are as characters. Seeing how they've only been in like 4 episodes, and White has literally only had like less than a minute of screen time before this finale happened. It just makes you think, like, remember when there were times where we would spend time getting to understand a villain's perspective, getting to understand their warped view on reality, getting to understand their motivation, getting to understand why they are the way that they are? Just like films that make me appreciate masterful villain writing and getting inside the mind of an antagonist, like Avengers Infinity War being a prime example of this, and Kung Fu Panda 1 and 2 also being excellent examples of this. How to write a villain, how to write motivations for your villain, how to help the audience understand your villain. Not side with them necessarily, but understand them. You can understand the reasons that these characters are the way that they are. You can understand why Thanos believes that his mission is right. You can understand why Tai Lung believes that he deserves the Dragon Scroll. You can understand why Shen is obsessed with killing Po. Oh, and why he believes that he is owed basically what he comes to claim. You can understand these villains. You can the movie gives them ample time, basically screen time dedicated to each of them, so that they can have development, so that they can have dimension and progression. We don't get that with the Diamonds. And the only exposition that we do get about their past in the way that, well, not even about their past, the only information that we do get about the Diamonds as characters is rushed into the last few minutes of this mess of a season. This is what I mean when they did not have a plan. They didn't focus on their villains whatsoever. They just treated the Diamonds like an afterthought. The main antagonists of their story was an afterthought. Why? I honestly don't understand this method of writing, because it just damages your story, honestly, because if your villains don't even have a motive, then why is there even a conflict? If you don't understand why the villains are doing what they're doing, then why does the story even exist, frankly? Because if you don't understand a villain's motive, then the story is just built on an empty foundation, because part of the driving I'll even quote Peridot here, stories need conflict. And conflict needs to be done in a way that gives the story, reason. It gives the story a reason to exist. Why are our heroes fighting the villains? Why are our villains doing these evil acts? We can understand the motive of the heroes in Steven Universe sometimes, but we don't understand the motive of the villains. We don't understand why they are the way that they are. And just to get back to the concept of having the Diamonds let off the hook for their evil things ultimately defeats the purpose of the Crystal Gems motive in the first place. Because what was the purpose of the Crystal Gems? Freedom. Freedom for gems to choose who they want to be in the universe. Freedom from their tyrannical dictators. Freedom from this system that has designed them to fulfill one purpose and one purpose only. Freedom from slavery. Freedom from being nothing but basically droids. And having the Diamonds maintain their position of power ultimately defeats that entire mission. So the good guys haven't even won in that aspect, because the Diamonds are still in charge on Homeworld. And apparently Steven did a lousy job of making sure that they were redeemed by not destroying something like a planet killer, which you'd think that if Steven was helping the Diamonds turn to the side of good, that destroying a planet killer and a weapon that can reset at a gem's mind would be priority number one. Because both of those things ultimately defeat the purpose of your mission. And it's just apparently the Diamonds did a bang-up job after just being talked to for a minute. Because I don't even remember I want to say that Blue and Yellow only get 5 minutes between the two of them in this finale where they actually talk. I don't know, I could be wrong. But it's all just built on such a flawed foundation, because the very concept of redeeming the Diamonds, because it doesn't even work, because we don't even know anything about them as characters. We don't have a reason to want them redeemed. We don't even have a reason for why they could. Because the Diamonds have been living this specific way for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. I cannot stress this enough. Because if you've been living with a specific mindset for that long, it's going to take more than 3 minutes in order to have that mindset changed. Because we don't even know the reason the diamonds think this way. So we have no way to understand how they could be changed. Because in the future, it's just like, if we understood who the characters are, we could understand reasons why they could be redeemed. Like, let's go for the obvious example here of Darth Vader. Like, obviously Darth Vader has committed horrendous crimes across the galaxy. I'm not opposed to the idea of redeeming villainous monsters, but there has to be a reason that it can work. Because from Luke's perspective, Darth Vader was once his father, Anakin Skywalker, a great Jedi warrior that fought in the Clone Wars alongside Obi-Wan Kenobi. Yeah. Vader refused to kill him in Empire Strikes Back, and he believed that Vader would refuse to kill him now, and that through that, he could save him from the darkness that the Emperor manipulated him through. We understand as an audience how Anakin became Darth Vader. Palpatine was manipulating him, getting him to do his bidding, and through Palpatine, Anakin was consumed by the darkness, by his hatred and his fear. And through Luke, Anakin is able to be saved. He saves his son. He saves his family, and he brings balance back to the Force. Anakin's destiny was fulfilled, and we understand the reason why he is redeemed. Because we understand who Darth Vader and Anakin Skywalker are as characters. We have a reason, we have a backstory, we have a motive, and we have a cause for them to be saved. We don't have that with the diamonds. We don't know anything about them. We don't know their history. We don't know their motive. We don't know their reason. We don't know a reason, and we don't know a cause for them to be saved. Because all we know about the diamonds is that they're murderers. They're tyrants. They're destructive monsters. They kill their own people on a whim. That they run a tyrannical government where their people are basically turned into slave workers, and that's all we know. And even in this episode where they're supposed to be redeemed, the most we get about Blue is that she's sad about how they mistreated Pink, and the most we get about Yellow is she feels underappreciated for all the hard work she puts in for White. And White, we know nothing about her. She views herself as perfect. So what? Why is that a reason to save her? Why is that a reason for her to be forgiven? What is the purpose of this redemption? What is the point of this? Why would you redeem villains that have committed intergalactic genocide for thousands upon thousands of years? It boggles my mind why the writers would even consider this a good idea. They're monsters, they're murderers, and if you're going to redeem monstrous villains, you have to give a reason. There has to be a reason for it. Like another example is Locust from Red vs. Blue. A man who was broken by war and manipulated by somebody he viewed as his trusted partner. And through Locust, over the course of the 3 seasons of the chorus arc in Red vs. Blue, Locust comes to realize that he was being used, that he's not a perfect soldier like Felix was lying to him. His partner, Felix, was lying to him, telling him that what they're doing is right because they're following their orders. Locust's motive was to be the perfect soldier, but he realizes what he's doing is not being the perfect soldier. He's a tool, he's a weapon, and so he makes a decision for himself and turns on Felix. It's helping the heroes of Red vs. Blue save the planet. There's reason for why Locust became a villain in the first place, and there is reason for why Locust can be redeemed. He committed murder for who knows how many years is using a bunch of innocent people, and he acknowledges this. He knows that he can't be forgiven for the awful things that he's done, but he's choosing to try and make things right, to do some good with the time he has now. We understand him. We don't understand the diamonds. Who thought this was a good idea? And it's like taken 2 minutes for Blue to question her entire sense of reality because she mistreated Pink, because she totally had no idea that what they were doing to Pink was making her sad. They had no idea because just like, despite what they say, just like about like they had a great relationship where they would just laugh and play for hours on end, just like, nah, they were horrible to her. Like, what was their relationship? What was the relationship between Pink and the Diamonds? Because we've heard that they were horribly mistreatful towards her, or that they had a lot of fun together, like playing games, singing songs, just like all of that nonsense. What happened? What changed? Did anything change? Was it always like this? Are we learning from a skewed perspective of what their lives were like? Is Blue lying? Did something change in the Diamond hierarchy? Did they used to be peaceful before they became tyrants? We don't know. We don't know. We don't understand. We're never given an explanation. The villains are not characters. The villains are plot devices. They are here to move the story along. Don't ask questions, because we're not going to answer any of them. Just like, don't ask questions. Just consume the product. Just shush. Questions aren't important. Look, the characters are sad. You be sad. Like, I don't care about the Diamonds. Why should I? It's the same thing that applies to Jasper. The Diamonds are nothing characters. Why should I care? Literally like 3 minutes and Blue's entire perception of what she's been doing to Pink is shattered. Seriously? That's all it takes? Because getting back to Locust, like, his redemption was gradual. He had to have his eyes opened. He had somebody who shared history similar to his put a worm in his ear, basically, like trying to help him open his eyes over the course of 2 seasons. This was gradual. Locust realizing what he was doing was wrong was gradual. Realizing he was being manipulated. It took him time, because it takes time for somebody who's had a skewed perspective of reality for who knows how long to get that perspective changed. Like, Locust would receive constant doubt in his head, doubting Felix's actions as Felix would grow more desperate over the course of seasons 12 and 13. Doubting his motives as it would become more questionable, considering what they were doing wouldn't even benefit them in the long run. It would just satisfy Felix's anger. Doubting what Felix was telling him as Washington tried to convince Locust to come back to the light. Basically trying to bring the truth into Locust's eyes. Helping him open his eyes that had been closed by Felix for so long. And even through his own subconscious, Locust begins to realize he's become the very thing that he fears. A monster. He's become a monster. He's not a soldier, he's a weapon. The Diamonds turn in 3 minutes. Each of them have a turn in like 3 minutes. It's a mess. It's a disaster. Locust's redemption was over the course of 2 damn seasons. This was done in 1 episode for 3 villains, one of which has had less than 5 minutes of screen time in the entire series leading up to this point. This is terrible. I'm sorry, what exactly is their plan here? They're gonna get the other crystal gems, hop back in their legs, and leave? Then what? Did they seriously think that neither Yellow nor White would give chase? Maybe try to convince Blue to do the same thing they did last time? Perhaps? What is their plan? What's their end game? Okay, so we go get the crystal gems, hop in the legs, head home. Then we're safe. No? No? No, wait, back it up. That's not how it works. You need... Good Lord. You can't just jump all the way back to Earth and everything's hunky-dory. Your lives are still in jeopardy at that point. Yeah, sure, you're on your home turf, but the Diamonds are still pissed. At least 2 out of 4 of them are. And it's just like, what? That's your plan? Just grab the others and head back to Earth. Then what? What? I don't know. If we bend the rules for pink, we have to bend them for everyone. Like, allowing fusion? Is that the rule you're talking about? Is that the only one? Because it would be nice to understand how the hierarchy on this planet works. To understand the rules set by your society. Like, maybe get to understand the villain's perspective a bit better. Maybe understand their worldview. Maybe understand what it is that they're enforcing on their people. Just a bit better, perhaps. Maybe understand the villains at all. No? Okay. She was suffering in silence, just like our gems, just like me. What? What? How did you, what, when did you get, when did you figure out that the gems were suffering in silence? Oh, did all of this also come with the 3-minute conversation you had with Steven that completely tore your entire worldview of your society asunder? Like, literally, just a 3-minute conversation about how you mistreated Pink completely opened your eyes as to how horrible your society is towards its people? That's all it took? Seriously? And it's just like, that's all it takes. Just a 3-minute conversation in order to tear their entire worldview asunder. Remember in Avengers Infinity War when Thanos had his worldview challenged by Gamora and Doctor Strange, and he gave his reasoning for the awful things that he had done? Like, he gave his reason, his motive, why he believed what he was doing is right. Twice his worldview was challenged, and twice he stood up against the challenge. In 3 minutes, Blue just buckles and just realizes everything that she's been doing for thousands of years is horrible. Why? How? Oh, okay. I guess in future, Steven just forgot to throw his shield forgot how to throw his shield because this throw is so powerful, it knocks back Yellow Diamond's hand. Like, bruh. That shield throw would have been extremely useful a couple times in future, but yet you didn't do that for some reason. Like, particularly when your father was held at knife point, you didn't do that. That's a powerful-ass throwing arm you got there, Steven. Sure would have been useful when your father was at knife point, wouldn't it be? This knocked back Yellow's hand. Yellow! The one who hoisted the hand ship, like one of the fingers of the hand ship, off from Blue without an issue. Power scaling? What's that? Does this look perfect to you? And then, in that instant, Yellow's entire worldview vanished. Oh, it's gone like an angel's kiss. This is how villain redemptions are done. Just have the hero say one line, and their entire worldview is just changed. Just like they're just like they're good now. They're good now. It solved it. It solved the problem. Just like all of their evil ways. Just like it's not an issue anymore because they don't think that way anymore. That's all it took. It's just 1 minute. Just like one word. Just like one sentence. That's all it takes to completely shatter the villain's worldview. And make them turn good. Do you guys understand why I hate this season finale yet? I'm pretty sure that that's not how the saying works, Steven. The way that I saw it anyway is if every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs. Just like, if every pork chop was perfect, we wouldn't have the things that, like, are special in this world. Like, if every pork chop was exactly the same, then we wouldn't have, like, the things that make the meat special. Like, we wouldn't have hot dogs, which are special compared to pork chops. Or special from pork chop. I don't know. It's a weird saying, but I'm pretty sure that saying if every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs doesn't exactly apply to wiping out things that you see as flawed in your empire. I don't know. That's just like a weird place to bring that up. It's just like, I guess that was sort of the way the writers tried to make things come full circle. Just like, started with every pork chop were perfect, we wouldn't have hot dogs. And now look, Steven's saying it's yellow, even though she doesn't know what a pork chop or a hot dog is. I guess Bismuth, maybe with Peridot and Lapis's help, managed to repair these ships after they were totaled in their fight. And also, apparently, when it takes a diamond to pilot... apparently these things that are like piloted by diamonds only requires like 1 or 2 gems in order to pilot them. Just like, sure. It's just like, took them just a couple days to buff out those scratches and then fly all the way here in these ships, just like, because they know how to do that. Alright, why not? This way of living, it must have been like torture for you. Again, how did you figure that? You could just like, it just took 2 minutes for their entire worldviews to be shattered in an instant. That's all it takes. It's like, oh my god. So Yellow's just here saying how she feels underappreciated by White and how she can't live up to the impossible standards that she's set. So Yellow just doesn't even feel bad. Just like, this is Yellow's reason. Just like, she feels bad because her empire isn't perfect. For some reason, she thinks that way. For some reason, she... just like, what is White's version of perfect? Her? Is that it? Just like, it'd be nice to understand why White has this perspective. Like, why she... like, what her version of perfect is, like, how she expects the others to carry it out. Because, like, you could have a villain that has, like, impossibly high standards and, like, their underlings can't live up to that. Like, you can have villains that are vain. You can do that. It's just, it'd be nice to understand what it is exactly that this standard even is. It'd be nice to understand White at all. Because this is all it takes for Yellow to turn into the side of good. Just like, she feels underappreciated by White, and she's telling her that now. Just like, that's all we get for Yellow. She feels underappreciated. She doesn't feel remorse for the awful things that she's done. She just she feels underappreciated. She does a lot of work, and she just it's not enough for White. Just like, I don't get it. Like, why would this is all she feels bad about. She doesn't even feel bad about the awful things she's done. Just underappreciated. Great reason to redeem your villain there, guys. Just like, she doesn't even feel bad about the awful things that she's done. Oh wait, in future she does. Why? Why does she feel awful about the things that she's done in future? Why? When did this change happen? Off screen? Oh, wonderful. I love off-screen character development because it is just wonderful to see a character just jump from one extreme to the other, completely off screen, and we have absolutely no idea why they change that way. Characters can change. I expect a certain level of consistency when it comes to writing a character. But character growth and character change can come with consistency. Characters can change, but there is always a reason why. At least there should always be a reason why. But for some reason, we aren't given those reasons. We aren't even given the reasons for why the diamonds are the way they are, let alone why they change. It's an entire hollow mess that just doesn't lead to anything. They didn't bother building to anything, so the conflict doesn't even lead to anything, but 2 minutes worth of conversations with Yellow and Blue, just like, look, what you did was terrible. And they're like, oh my god, we're evil. And you know what the best part is of this season finale? Is that after all the diamonds come to Earth to help heal the corrupted gems, they leave! They just fuck right off! They just go right back to Homeworld, just like, alright, we did our thing, back to Homeworld. What? Steven, are you stupid? Are you stupid? I'm gonna just say, the answer's probably yes, honestly. The answer's probably yes, because he just lets them go. I'm sure they'll behave on Homeworld left to their own devices, even though they only undid the one thing that they did. Only undid this one thing that they've done for thousands of years. Just like, I'm sure they'll be fine, because like, Steven is such a damn Gary Stew in this season. Because Steven in this season, he's just perfect. He just has the answers to everything that's plot relevant. His powers just come out of his ass to solve any problem that they have. He just gets powers without having to work for any of them. Remember when Steven had to work for something as simple as summoning a shield? Remember when that was a thing? Now he's just activating these powers effortlessly, unconsciously even. Literally unconsciously, because he activates these powers in his sleep and when he's knocked the fuck out. Everything just comes to him so easily. He doesn't have to work. He doesn't have to struggle. Just like, and everybody loves him, because everybody loves Steven Universe. Everybody loves that guy. He's just so perfect. He just like does everything right. It's just like, Steven is such a damn inconsistent character. He is all over the place in these 5 seasons. Like, I'll make a video talking about Steven's character at some point, but good lord, his character is a mess. Okay, so... Okay. So Blue's going on about this whole monologue about how, like, Pink just wanted to make us happy, and we're not happy. So, White, you should stop what you're doing because we're not happy. Why the hell would you expect her to care? What was your relationship like? Why did it change? Did it change? Was White always like this? Was she always this self-centered and so enforcing of her own worldview? Was White always like this? We don't know. Did White change for some reason? Did she change because Pink died? Supposedly? If that's the case, then why is she still a bitch? What? Why is White the way that she is? She has collectively, I'm pretty damn sure, not even 15 minutes of screen time included here and in future and in the movie. It is a disaster. White is a nothing character. She's a plot device. She just does things because the script needs her to do them, because we can't have villains that have complex motives, like they have reasons for the things that they're doing. We can't have villains that don't have questions our heroes can't get. We can't have villains that have questions our heroes can't give straight answers to. We can't have villains we can't have villains with worldviews that make sense, like why we can understand them. We can't have villains with worldviews that even make sense to them, because for some reason these characters just change on a dime after one conversation. That's all it takes. One conversation with Steven and their entire worldview shattered in an instant. That's all it takes. What are these characters? Why do they exist? Why are they the way that they are? What is their motive? What is their reason? Why should we care if they're redeemed? Why should they even be redeemed at all? It defeats the point of the Crystal Gems mission because the diamonds are still in a position of power. If they're not killed, they need to at least be dethroned, because it defeats the point. The entire point of the Crystal Gems was freedom. Diamonds are still in power. Freedom? Leadership. Freedom? Tyrants. Freedom? Tyrants. They don't mix. You can't be free under the rule of a tyrant. That is the exact opposite of freedom. And Steven did a shit job of making sure that the diamonds changed. But for some reason they changed anyway. Off screen, without him. Somehow. Why? Character development, not a thing that we do here in Steven Universe. You can fuse with poofed gems, I guess. Just add another question to the list of rules of how the hell does fusion work? How does that work? You can just fuse with gems that are poofed? They're unconscious and you just wake them up? With fusion? Is that What? Huh? I thought it was their light forms melding together. How can you do that without the light form? How does fusion work? And this is what we call fan service done incorrectly. Just throwing in a bunch of fusions literally at the last minute, like they throw all the plot points literally in at the last minute, just for the sake of having a bunch of fusions in the finale so that the fans will rave about it, because seeing fusions makes all the fans happy. Rather than building up to a significant arc where this is a significant point in the character's story, like it has been for every other time that these characters have fused. Just throw it all in there in the last minute. Fan service, look! Steven fused with Pearl! Oh my goodness, you guys like that, right? Yeah, that's right, love it, eat it up, eat it up! Just like, yeah, just hide your shitty writing behind fan service. It's a great strategy. Smoke screen! I hate Sunstone's personality and their design is atrocious. Just saying. Look, Obsidian, look, fan service. Be giddy about the fan service. Don't worry about the story. Look, Cap's picking up Thor's hammer. Don't worry about the... Shit, wrong movie. How durable is Lapis's gem again? It got stepped on and it cracked and she got smacked by a giant mech, flown several feet, landed smack dab right into the back of a giant pillar, and her gem's fine. She's fine. Don't worry about it. She totally didn't die from that impact. What is the fragility of gems? How does this work? Rules. In-universe rules. You need this stuff in order for your story to function. Otherwise, you can just do whatever the hell you want. Just don't bother with consistency. Just don't bother trying to adhere to your own rules or your own history of your story. Yeah, Lapis is fine. Don't worry, she totally didn't die from that. She's fine. If just Garnet, Amethyst, Pearl, and Steven together can fuse into this monstrosity, why was there a war again? Why was there a war if the Crystal Gems could pull off crazy shit like this? How were they the underdogs? How did they not just win? With crazy shit like this? How? How was there a war? It doesn't make any sense. They have something this powerful with just Garnet, Amethyst, Pearl, and Steven. Why was there a war? How does this shit not just kill him, for the record? How does having this gem yanked out of his body not just, I don't know, kill him? Maybe have, like, his organs spilling out all over the ground. How can White do this? For the record? How can she do this? Is this just another power that she pulls out of her ass for the sake of the plot moving forward in a specific direction? Is this just a thing that the Diamonds do all the time where they just come up with random powers for the sake of the plot? It's just... the Diamonds... they're just such anomalies, and I hate them so much because they make me ask so many questions, none of which are answered. It's just like, why can't the writers just answer some damn questions? Just don't ask questions, just consume product. Just cry, because if you feel something, that means it's good. If you get an emotional reaction towards a piece of writing, then that means that piece of writing is good. Good Lord. I only want you to be yourself. If you can't do that, I'll do it for you. What does that even mean? If you can't be yourself, then I'll be yourself for you. What? Huh? What? What? Where's the... If you can't be you, then I'll be you for you. What? What does that even mean? How does that make sense? You know, it'd be nice if we could understand why White has this sort of twisted logic. Maybe. I don't know. Like, why? Honestly, the first time that I saw this scene, honestly, I interpreted it as Steve, like back when I used to actually like this show, I interpreted this scene as Steven finally getting to hug his mother. But now I don't know what this scene is meant to represent because Pink's gone. So what is this? What does this even mean? I don't even know what this scene is meant to represent. Steven accepting himself, maybe? Is that what this is meant to represent? That he knows he's him, maybe? I don't know. How does White even know what a child is? How does White even know what that word means? If gems don't reproduce, if they don't have offspring, then how does she know what that word means? Could it possibly be that White knows more than she's letting on? Shh, don't ask questions. Just consume the product. Don't ask questions. Don't bother trying to understand the story. We don't understand it either. We just made this up as we went along. You kidding me? Just don't ask questions. A witty comeback and White's entire worldview is shattered. I'm supposed to be perfect. That's it. Steven has like a witty comeback and that's all it takes to shatter her worldview. These are really great villains with fantastic motives if all it takes is less than like 3 minutes for their entire perspective on reality and themselves to be changed in an instant after like one conversation with Steven. It's great. It's just fantastic finale. Just like they did so well handling these villains in Redemption. Just like, oh, but no. You see, the diamonds are still evil. They're gonna turn against Steven. Nope. Oh, no. They're gonna follow up on their redemption in future. Nope. I got nothing. Yeah. It's pretty shit, ain't it? Is this some kind of running gag where Bismuth, Lapis, and Peridot are sidelined as per usual, and the second that they show up, either everything's fine or like the situation is not what they expected it to be? It's kind of funny if you think about it, because it's like, hey, look at all these characters that you guys love that we didn't bother to give any sort of consistent character arc or any sort of development beyond 7 episodes. Just like, look at these guys. Oh, they're too late. Oh, they missed the train. They missed the important story stuff. They missed it. They're just sidelined. As always. Reasons. Entire worldview just shattered by a comeback. Oh, I'm supposed to be perfect. You're supposed to be Pink. Then who am I? Who are you? Who is anyone? This existential breakdown after a comeback? These are our villains, ladies and gentlemen. That's all it takes. That's all it took to shatter their worldview. Just a witty comeback. God. You should just let people be who they are. Unless that person that you are is something that I don't like, then you can't be that. Can I hear you say inconsistently written? It would be nice if we could understand why White views herself this way, why she has this worldview, or if we could understand White at all. It'd be nice if there was some damn character writing for the main villains of this show. Sure would be nice, wouldn't it? Oh, hey, look. It's Lars and the Off-Colors. Forgot they were in this. Just like the show that forgot that they were part of this story. It's funny how that works, isn't it? Where you just bring in a bunch of characters and then do absolutely nothing with them. Just make a character very interesting and compelling and then drop them off the face of the earth. Sorry, Lars. You had your moment to shine. When you died. That's all you get. Well, would you look at these two characters that had their entire resolution to their ongoing story arc completely done off screen. Why did we even bother spending all this time focused on Sadie and Lars if we're not even going to get the conclusion to their story on screen? Just why even bother? Just develop a bunch of pointless characters to the overall plot. Then when Lars becomes important, just forget about him. And then forget about these two entirely. Just have their resolution off screen. Because, fuck you, that's why. Vanished for 5 vanished till the very end of season 5, comes in, does nothing, comes in again, dies, gets nothing. Poor Jasper. Yeah, I guess just like all the gems are like partially healed, and then that becomes a amended thing in frickin', what was it? Steven Universe Future episode what? I don't know. It's episode 17, I think it was. Just like Yellow just figured out how to undo it. Just like screw consequences to actions. It's just like sure, the gems aren't absolutely terrified that they're tyrants. They're the people that they spent fighting for thousands of years. The people that have murdered possibly hundreds of their comrades in arms. Just like they're not terrified. They're not perpetually pissed off. Just like, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. No repercussions, no reactions, no any sort of backlash. Just no, there's no such thing as consequences in this show. Let's be frank. There are no consequences for actions in this show. Any bad things you do, swept under the rug. Any crimes you committed, just water under the bridge. Don't even worry about it. It's like nobody is going to hold any resentment towards you for it, and you're just going to be a good person from now on because Steven said so. This show does a horrible job of showing that there are consequences to actions. Bad things have consequences. Bad people suffer consequences for their actions. This is how the world should work. There are consequences for the bad things that you have done. Like bringing up Locus again. The entire planet of Chorus fucking hates him. And he knows this, but he realizes that, so he's going to go elsewhere in the universe to try to make the bad things that he's done right. There are no consequences in Steven Universe Future. There are no consequences in this show at all. Anyone dies, they're brought back. Anyone's corrupted, they're completely healed. Any evil people, they're redeemed. Just like, except for Eyeball and Aquamarine, just fuck them, I guess. Just like, all these loose ends, don't even worry about it. All of these things just left up in the open. Just like, this was the turning point for me when it came to judging Steven Universe, because, oh my god, this finale is atrocious. It's just the entire concept alone of redeeming these monstrous villains that we know have been committing genocide, and then seeing people try to defend it by saying things like, oh, but the planets they colonized didn't have any, like, sapient life on them. Bullshit. And even if that was true, look what they did to their own people. This is okay? This is okay to forgive villains that have done this sort of thing. Because even in the case of people like Darth Vader and Locus, they might have been redeemed, but they were never forgiven for the awful things that they've done. Like the entire planet that Locus helped terrorize fucking hates him. And I'm pretty sure, like, in the extended universe, in the books in Star Wars, even though that's not canon anymore, but fuck it. Okay, screw Disney Star Wars, I'll get to that someday. But basically, like, in the EU, basically, the ghost of Anakin Skywalker comes to Padme and tries to apologize, and Padme runs away because she can't forgive him for the things that he did, particularly to Alderaan, her home. There are consequences. These actions have consequences, and this is something that Steven Universe likes to pretend is not a thing. The actions that you commit don't have consequences. Just doesn't matter what you did. You're fine. Doesn't matter how evil you are, you're fine. Just come in and fix this one thing partially, and then fuck off. Go back to Homeworld. The diamonds just come in, heal the gems, they leave. Because sure, that's a great idea. They've only been good for, what, a day? And Steven's like, I'm sure leaving them to their own devices is a good idea. And honestly, This was a terrible ending for Steven Universe, but if I was to answer the question which I think is worse between this one and Future, probably Future. Because at least the ending here didn't really ruin the main characters that much. They've had damage dealt to them over time, this is true, but they were outright unsalvageable in Future. Like, you could have done something to fix them by the point in Season 5, which they didn't do. But in Future, they just decided to completely and utterly destroy the only things those characters had left. Do I think that Season 5 is a good ending? Absolutely not. Do I think that the Future is a good ending? Hell no. Honestly, I don't think that this show had a good ending at all. Not even the movie was what I would consider a good ending. At least it felt like an ending, unlike this, which was just a rushed mess. At least the movie felt like an ending, because it actually treated it like it was closure, whereas here, it's just a jumbled mess thrown in together at the last minute. Whereas the movie was at least its own story. Like, it generated a new plot for the movie. Like, at least that felt like some sort of sense of finality. This doesn't have that. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Steven Universe Season 5 finale revisited. Change your mind. And I have not changed my mind about this season finale, I can tell you that much. It is still a disaster. It is still a mess. And looking back at it, yeah, this did kickstart me on my journey to hating Steven Universe, honestly, and looking at it in a much more critical manner. And honestly, I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of, honestly, this season finale, it's very frustrating, but it didn't fill me, but looking back at it, it doesn't fill me with nearly as much anger as something like Future did. I don't know why that is. But yeah, hopefully this was good for a 100 subscribers special, and technically a 3,000 views special for the initial video, because that's reaching 3,000 views by the time that I'm recording this. So honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you guys so much for all of your support, for helping me get this far, and for helping me accomplish something that I didn't think I could ever do. Something that honestly just makes me feel special, just knowing that at the end of the day, that there's over 100 of you guys now, and you guys all subscribed because you enjoy my content. And honestly, it's an indescribable feeling. I know that, like, in the grand scheme of YouTube, like, some people would say, like, oh, 100's not a big number. To me, it is. 100 is a lot of people. And it's just insane to imagine that 100 people and thousands of others have actually listened to what I have to say. It's crazy. And honestly, I owe you guys a huge thanks for being patient with me, for listening to me, tolerating my anger and my annoying voice, for just being there. Because I would not have the drive to do what I do right now, do what I'm doing right now, if it weren't for you guys. Honestly, because you guys, really, your support does mean the world to me. Your patience, getting to interact with you in the comments, the memes, the quality memes, the insightful discussions, even the disagreements. And I hope to open a Discord server at some point. I do, hopefully, because I really want a better way to communicate with you guys. But honestly, just thank you guys for helping me reach 100 subscribers. I honestly don't know what else to say other than thank you, because I never thought that I could do this. I really didn't. I never thought that somebody like me would ever be able to make this kind of accomplishment. And honestly, thank you. It really does mean the world to me, and I hope that I continue to supply you guys with content that you will enjoy as the future comes. So, thank you everybody one last time for watching and for subscribing and helping me reach 100 subscribers. I will hopefully see you tomorrow, if all things go according to plan and I'm able to do the live stream. Hopefully I'll be able to see you guys tomorrow then. If not, I'll see you guys either when I live stream next week or when I make my next video talking about Spinel. So, thank you all so much for watching. You guys really do mean the world to me. Take care.